Hi everyone, welcome back to Tonic Studios. My name is Shilpa and today we'll be creating a Celebrate with Style presentation box. It's going to be stunning. You can see these fabulous dies on this sheet here, a full A4 sheet of gorgeous dies to create this presentation box. So let's get started. So just quickly before I get started, I wanted to show you the cards and the colours that I'll be using to create this in case you want to create a similar one. So I've got the classic card in Blossom Pink, I've also got the Candy Red and the classic card in Bright White, and also mirror card in Chrome Silver for this project. So I wanted to create the presentation box base first, and for that you're going to need to cut out twice using this large die here, and that's going to create this here, and you're going to crease the edges and add some red liner tape, which I've already done. And then to create the full box with the sides, you're going to need two of these as well. So let's put this box together and then we're going to decorate it before we get into doing the inner parts of the actual box. So here I have added my red liner tape on one of the tabs here, and this is going to flip over and create almost like a book, and we're not going to add the tape here. This is going to be our closed area without the tape, so we can open our box. So I'm going to put this right along here, and I'm just going to line it up as best as I can, and then using my bone folder I'm going to give it a burnish, because this tool is perfect to do this. And then I'm going to add the smaller sides here. So I've already got my red liner tape on. I know you can't see it's red on red, but it is there. So I'm going to take these backings off and create our box base. So I'm going to again do the same thing, just line it up. Like that. And then I'm going to bring this side up. Put that on here. And then put this bit on here, and I'm going to do the same on this side. So let's open this up a bit. Take the backing off here. And do the same again. So I'm going to put this against here. And then bring it up to yourself and have a look. And then do the same here. And again, take your bone folder and then just give it a little burnish where you've added your tape. The same here and here. So that has given us our actual box to start decorating. So you can decorate in advance before you put it together, but I have got my layers that are going to have double-sided tape on. If I was to use wet glue I would have done it beforehand, but I have got my layers here to decorate, and I have added double-sided tape, so it's going to be easy to stick on. So I'm going to show you the bits and pieces I've got to decorate the box. So these are my top panels here to go right on top of my box. So I've used beautiful pink and white to create an accent. And then for the topper, I'll bring the die in as well so you can see which dies I've used to create these detailed pieces. So with this die here, I've gone in and cut out in the pink, and then with just a solid piece I've cut out the white, And then for the decorative layers, these are so pretty. The bits that are going to create perfect toppers for the boxes, as well as any card that you might want to create later on. So here I have this embossed one here, which is this die here in silver. Then again, the same detail is on a cutout die, which is this one here. And once you cut this out, it gives you, it is a verso die. I'm just going to try and lift it off my magnetic sheet. It creates this beautiful detail, which is actually the same as the embossing, and this is going to be layered on top like this. So it's really nice little detail there. And then here I have this die here, which I've cut out, and it says I hope all your wishes come true. And then I've also cut a solid pink one, and this is going to create my toppered layers. So let's get all that stuck together. And I'm going to be using a combination of, like I said, double-sided tape as well as my Nouveau adhesive. And I don't want any dimension on this, just the dimension of the actual cards is okay, because there is going to be a belly band that's going to go over this. So I'm going to get all this put on and create decorative layer for the top. So I've got my double-sided tape in the center, and then I'm just going to go in with my deluxe adhesive around the edges, and then just dot a few bits of glue on the edge as well. Just make sure you get all the corners so it doesn't catch on the belly band once you've got it on. And then I'm just going to line it onto that white backing. And stick it down. So like I said, no foam pads on this section, because I am going to put a belly band around the box, and I'll show you the die that you can create the belly band with. So again, I'm going to go in with my bone folder. Again, I like to burnish all my adhesive down. The next layer is this layer here. Let me just put this one on here first, and then might be easier. So this double-sided tape is perfect, and it's really tacky. So I'm gonna just add some glue. Because it's going on mirror card, I know the glue on the edge might not be sufficient, so the double-sided tape should work. And then that layer is going to go on here. Give this a little burnish. And then this one is going to go on the pink layer. So the detail is all in the layering. Even though there's no dimension, the colours make it look like a visual dimensional topper. So this bit I'm going to put a bit more extra glue on all the letters, because the belly band, I don't want it catching on in the letters. So just make sure you just go in onto all the little bits that you think might stick out once you've got your band going over. It'll make sense when I put it all together. So just putting lots of dotty glues on. And the Nouveau glue has got a small tip which you can makes it easy to go in and add all this. And that is going to go on here. Like so. And I'm going to turn it around. So I can see I've missed a tiny bit over here, so I'm just going to grab a bit of card. And then I'm going to add a bit of glue to the corner and just tuck it in behind that bit, and then just push it down. Same here, I've missed a tiny bit here. Add a bit of glue like this, and that should work. Okay, so I'm going to put this section on the red bit. Now we're creating all these layers to go together. I'm going to add a tiny bit of glue just for extra strength. This is going to go in the center of here. And then this one is going to go in the center of here. So let's remove the backings. And again, I will add a bit more glue around the edge just for some extra strength. And just a bit here. And then put this on in the center. I'm going to turn it around and give it a burnish from the back because I don't want to mess up any of my decorative bits at the front. Just give that some time to stick down. That looks so pretty. So I'm going to give that a bit more time to settle to the side before I put it on the box, and I want to show you some more decorative layers I've got for the side of my box. So these are in the silver mirror card, and it's really beautiful detailed embossed die that you've got here. So this embossing is just so adorable. So you've got the larger one and the smaller one with the solid pieces. So you're just gonna tape the solid and the embossed one together, and then you're going to create your beautiful embossed layer. And I think this embossing is so delicate, so elegant. And I'm going to put this on with some tape. So I've already got my red liner tape on the back, so that's why I'm doing it at this stage. If I was to use wet glue, I would have done it before I put the box together. So if you are using tape, it is okay and manageable to stick your layers on after, because you don't have to press the glue down. It's going to stick by itself. Okay, so leave a little tiny border like this, and then stick these down. Such a gorgeous detail. And then you can go in and just give a little burnish like that. Then I'm going to go around and put all of these on. So now we're at this stage where all the sides are done. I'm going to go back to my topper and put this on. So let's give it one last little push down. Everything is stuck down nicely, nice and flat, so I know nothing's going to catch. And then take this backing off. And I am going to put a couple of dots of glue, again just for security, just in the corners like that. Maybe a dot here and here. Bring this back in. make sure it's the right way up, and then I'm gonna centrally put this on. Like that, and then I can open it up and just give it a little push. And that looks so gorgeous as it is. Really beautiful. Okay, so now that the main box is done, we want to work on the inside. So let me show you and bring in all the bits I've got for the inside. So here I have the layers that are going to go on the inside, and you're going to create like a curved, almost like a curved aperture for the inside. So I've got a backing here in the pink, and then I've got these layers here. So this layer here, you've actually got the die that creates the tab. So you're going to create one like this, and then to get the central aperture, because I want to add something behind it, I've taken this solid die and this one, and I've taken this decorative die here. So this is just for placement. So because you want it quite central, I've gone like this, I've added all these layers and this one, and then I've taped the middle section down with some tape, and I've removed these two and I've passed it through my machine, and I've got myself an aperture like that. So really simple to do. You just need to be a bit patient and add your layers on so you get a nice central cut. So I've got this section here. I've also taken there's a layer that comes a bit smaller than this, which is this piece here. So this one doesn't have the tabs. I'm going to do the same thing again. So I've got my large die on, the decorative one just to give me placement, and then I've added the embossed one here, because this time I'm going to cut it out like this, and then it's going to leave me this section here, and this time the circle inside, or the oval rather, is a bit bigger, which is going to leave me with a little frame like this. And for that I've used that embossed die, and you can just pass this through by itself with the oval in the center, and then you're going to create a little frame that's going to go in here, and that's using these two dies here. And then finally the decorative piece here, I've used the large one here, the one that's without the tabs, and then the decorative one here, which is a verso die. So I've cut that out like this. Sorry, so this one has got an edge die, so I've cut it out like this, and then it's given me this beautiful detail die. So you're going to go in with your die, your paper, and then this large one here, because you want the aperture out. Okay, so that's going to create this beautiful detailed piece here. I'm going to put all these dies to the side, and I'm going to put this together, and I have got something to go in the center of this. So before I actually adhere this to the box, I want to adhere it to itself. So I'm going to go in with, this time I'm going to be using red liner tape on the back, and for all these layers I'm using some wet glue. So I'll be using deluxe adhesive for all of these layers. So let's get some glue on these and get these stuck together. So now we're at this stage where these layers are stuck together. It is quite flat, I'm going to slightly tease the paper and just give it a little curve, because that's what it needs to do when it's inside the box. So just give it a little tease with your hand, break the fibers and give it a little curve like this. So that's the reason we need to glue this quite well, because I don't want anything sticking out or upwards. It needs to be quite against itself on this pink bit. So I'm going to give it a little final curve. There's a bit of glue here. I'm just going to remove that. And I'm going to bring this pink bit back in, and I'm going to stick this to itself like that, and it's going to give me this curved aperture. And before I do this, actually I realize I need to actually put some tape on the back, because this is going to go inside our box that we've already created. So just a bit in the middle. I will be using some wet glue. This is just for extra hold. So let's just put a bit on here, and then bring this back in. So you're going to remove your backing. This red liner tape is super strong anyway, so I'm not going to add any more glue just on here at the moment. So I'm going to kind of centralize it. Just give yourself a point of reference on the top so it's butted against the top, and give this a fold and a burnish. I'm going to do the same here, but this time I'm going to lift it up, because I don't want it to bend the work that we've already done or crease. So let's take this backing off. Lift it off your work surface, and then just gently hold it. Put it against the edge and just crease it. Like that. And then just go in with your fingers. And that's what you're going to end up with, like a curved aperture. Now this is going to now sit inside our box like this. So I'm going to add some glue to the back, just for some extra strength. So I'm going to go in, and the wet glue gives a bit of wiggle time, just for you to centralize where you're putting things. So let's get this inside here. I'll lift that up and just drop it down like that. And then I'm going to go in with my bone folder again and put it in like this. And for the center, you can add your message again with your die that's in the actual collection. But what I wanted to do is create a little floral display inside. So this is creating an older Tonic Studios, I think it's the poppy die. So I've created a little flower, and then I've got some leaves here and a little stem. So I'm just gonna put this in. I'm gonna chop a bit of this off because it is quite long, and I'm gonna go in with my tweezers and some Nouveau adhesive to get all this stuck in. So let's get this little display done. Now I'm going to leave this to the side to dry whilst I work on the belly band. So that looks so gorgeous already. So I'm going to leave it back here for it to dry, and then I'm going to work on the belly band, and there's a few tabs that need to go inside the box as well. So for the belly band, you've got this large long die here, and you're going to cut it out twice for your belly band. So I've got these two pieces here, and then all these decorative layers are also in the kit, in the collection for you to use. So I've just used the white and pink again, going with this theme of white, pink and red, and these are gonna go on here. So the first thing I want to do is crease the tabs, and I'm not going to close it off until I put it around my box, in case I need some extra space. So this little section here I'm going to put together already. So I'm going to get some glue, and put it against this section. So it's going to create a long belt like this. And then I've already put red liner tape on the back of these sections here. So all I'm going to do now is put them on. These little pretty little pieces as well. And then one more long one. Go here. So that's all decorated. Now I'm going to bring my box back in and just wait a second before I put this on. So you get these two little circular tabs, which I'm going to put on now. You just fold them in half. So I've got two ready. And then on the plain side, you're just going to put a tiny bit of glue on and stick it to the inside. So when you close your box lid, it's not going to flop down, it's just going to stay in place. So just eyeball it and centralize these little tabs. That's going to go there, and then one more on the top. This does help, I mean it does hold it, but this is just for extra strength, so the lid doesn't go through. So just eyeballing it and making it as central as I can, like that. So it just gives it a bit of hold, and that looks so pretty. That glue's just drying inside. And then I'm going to bring the belly band back round on here. So like I said, I don't stick it down straight away, because I want to see if I need some extra space. So you can see here, when I bring my tab around, I'm not going to put it right against the crease, because I need a tiny, maybe a couple of millimeters. So I'm going to leave it like this, and then I'm going to put my glue on. Not all the way to the top, and then that's going to give me that extra bit of room, because you know I've got quite a few layers here. So then that should work. So I'm just going to give this a minute to grab. So that's had a minute to dry. I'm going to take it off, and that's going to slide on and off perfectly. So because I've got all these layers, obviously it has to go over the layers, and then that just slides on and off perfectly to your beautiful Celebrate with Style presentation box. And it's just such a beautiful gift box in itself. And then obviously you can decorate how you want. I love the fact that the aperture gives you the opportunity to add 3D toppers. I think it look really nice with almost like a mini layout, or even just a photo in there would look really, really gorgeous. And that's come out so beautiful, really, really unique little idea. And you can obviously create in whatever colors and themes you want, and these dies would look perfect on just cards as well. So gorgeous little celebrate with style presentation box. I hope I've given you some inspiration, and I will see you all very soon. So here's another look, and that's it from me for today. Take care.